Hey everyone, it's Nikki, and this setting is a little bit of a spoiler as to what happens this month, but this month I wanted to focus on some of the visual aspects of my screenplay now that I was done with the first draft. And yeah, I was kind of just taking it easy and getting ready to go back to college, which may or may not be where I currently am. So, yeah. Here I am developing the map of the fictional country that my story takes place in. I decided to make it based on the World Wildlife Fund's ecoregions, and I found this vector map of all the ecoregions in North America on Wikipedia, and I'm basing the provinces of this country on that map. You may notice that even though this footage is sped up a lot, everything seems to be moving really slowly, and that's because the combination of running OBS and running Photoshop on my 8GB RAM computer made it want to explode, and the lag was super severe, so I ended up finishing this drawing without the screen recording software running, and I will show you the finished product after I finish the map. Here is the final product. It's an overview of the entire country with the pertinent provinces and towns within those provinces named. And here's a zoomed in map that only includes places that are present in the story. So I've had quite an interesting week. Last Monday, a giant storm hit Iowa and some other parts of the Midwest. And we didn't quite have like a full-on tornado, but it was like really high-speed winds. And I ended up losing power from like 11 a.m. Monday to around 2 a.m. on Friday. So I had to kind of be creative in how I got things done. There were definitely things that I couldn't do because I didn't want to waste the battery of my computer or my phone. So I couldn't, and we didn't have internet, and the cellular was very sketchy. So I couldn't update certain documents that I had that were in the cloud because they weren't on my computer physically. And even the stuff that I did have on my computer physically, I would often want to reference stuff that I had in the cloud or look up research or references online, which, like I said, no internet. So I had to mostly focus on things that didn't require any of that or were based on stuff that I already had researched and had references for. So yeah, good time. I'm also in the middle of packing up for school. I've shipped some stuff already. I've taken a COVID test and shipped that off in the mail. So yeah, it's just kind of a hectic, crazy time. Here I'm starting to develop the writing system that the conlang I developed for my story uses. I based it primarily on Cree and Burmese, although I also took a little bit of inspiration from Hangul because it's not an alphabet or a syllabary. I think it's Nabugaida, I don't know. I was looking up the different kinds of writing systems in order to develop this system. But like Hangul, how they combine several different letters into little blocks. In this writing system that I'm coming up with, I've created it so that the consonants and vowels combine into kind of syllabary-like blocks like in Japanese, except they're way more interchangeable. And yeah, so here I am coming up with some symbols that will function as consonants. There's nothing set about them at the moment. I was just kind of brainstorming all the different open shapes that I could think of that I could fit smaller symbols inside of to function as vowels. And here I'm doing the same thing I was doing with the consonants, except kind of in reverse to develop the vowels. So I was coming up with shapes and things that could go inside of these consonants that would function as the vowels used in this system of writing. For both the consonants and vowels, I was trying to come up with more symbols than I needed because I know all of the phonemes that are a part of my language already, but I wanted to try and come up with as many variations as possible, A, just so I had a lot of different options, but B, so that I could come up with symbols for the loan words that are going to be in this language, because there are a fair amount of sounds that are left out of the language, so I wanted to have kind of like a katakana equivalent for foreign words. So now that I've come up with all these symbols, I've started to assign them to the different phonemes that are a part of this language. So the fictional language that I've come up with for my story consists of 6 vowels and 23 consonants, which I know sounds like a large disparity, but I wanted to keep it simple, but also with a lot of variety. So I kept the vowels to a minimum, kind of like Japanese or Hawaiian, while utilizing most of the consonants that are in the English alphabet and some other alphabets from around the world. There's one noticeable group of consonants lacking in this alphabet, and that is the labial consonants, which I was looking into that, and there are very few languages. I think it's like 1 or 2 languages that don't have any labial consonants, which is stuff like M, B, and P. So yeah, I just thought that was an interesting detail in my research. The assignments are mostly arbitrary, although some of them are based on their Roman or Greek counterparts. For instance, I give the D sound the upright triangle, which kind of looks like a delta in the Greek alphabet. And some of the consonants that are similar to each other, like thorn and F, I have given them similar symbols because they sound almost the same. Also, if you're wondering what those symbols are that I am writing on the paper, they're supposed to be the IPA symbols that are assigned to all the different phonemes in world languages. After finishing coming up with all the vowels and consonants, I decided to test the writing system by writing down the names of a few locations in the story. Hey everyone, this is kind of an impromptu update, but I just found out that my family got off the waiting list for a recareered service dog. The dog we currently have, his name is Larry. He's very sweet. He was training to be a service dog for veterans with PTSD, but he failed his training, so he was recareered and is now just our pet. And we were my mom put us on a waiting list for a potential future dog from the same organization that needed to be recareered. And we just got off that waiting list and we're driving down to Winterset to meet a dog that we might possibly adopt. We're bringing Larry and we're gonna just see how it goes.
What do you think about getting a new brother, Larry? You got any opinion on it? No?
What are you doing, you little dog?
Hi, Elmer.
What are you coming to me for?
Elmer, good boy.
There. Hey.
He's like, I don't really care about him.
Go run!
You sit down. No. I would say they get along fine.
Yeah. This is not for you to eat. Nope.
Hello.
Larry. So tell me the truth. What do you think about this guy, Larry. Here I'm starting to create a reference sheet for Andromeda, the main character and, titular character of this story. I wanted to make it with a ruler and actually measure out her proportions rather than just trying to eyeball it. And so, yeah. In the first drawing that I made of her, she was kind of long because I was just eyeballing it, and she's probably taller than I wanted her to be. Whereas with this drawing, I made sure she was the right height for proportion, and I actually based her proportions and body type on some athletes because Initially in my mind, she was like kind of tall and lanky like Twiggy or a lot of other models from the 60s. But given her profession, that body type isn't particularly realistic. So I decided to go with something a bit more stout and muscular, but still lean. So I was looking at dancers, gymnasts, and like acrobats, aerialists, those kinds of people for inspiration. Once I started drawing the back view, I was very aware of the fact that I've never really drawn someone from this point of view, especially without a reference. When I got to the butt, I was like, wait, how do you draw that from this angle? And boy, when I get to those feet, oh man, it was a mess. I was also really struggling with the hands, but I was also way too lazy to look for a reference. So I'm like, well, that's just going to be a problem once this gets to Photoshop. What's up? It's Monday, August 24th. I was going to film more yesterday of me moving into my dorm, but because of COVID, my mom couldn't come into the dorm with me and help me move in, so I had to do everything myself. So I was kind of just exhausted and tired and sweaty and just wanted to be done with everything. So I decided instead of that, I would just film a tour of my room now that I've actually finished unpacking everything and kind of tidying it up. There's still no decor or anything really. I still need to buy a couple toiletries and decorations and that kind of stuff, but here's the room so far. So on the door, I just have my towel hanging, and then I have one of the bags that I use the most often just hanging on the sweater, jacket, hook, whatever that is there. And then right to the right of the door is my 5-drawer dresser, and there's a box that I need to get rid of still, but it's really big and I don't feel like walking down to the dumpster. And on top of it, I just have some of my toiletries that I'm not putting in the restroom with like my toothpaste and body wash and stuff. And then I have this mirror, there's me, hello. And it is currently being propped up on a extra yoga block that I found, so I might need to get something to boost it up. Last year I was just using a cardboard box that something came in, so don't know. Then to the back toward the room, there's my bed, I have my blanket, and then my pillow at the head of the bed back there. And then at the foot of the bed, I have my school bag. School hasn't started yet, so it's currently empty. Then a umbrella hanging from my bed, which I will probably utilize because it's supposedly going to thunderstorm today, but I want to go outside and exercise. And then my exercise bag, just a little backpack. I keep like my water bottle and certain things in, like a yoga strap or gloves. And then to the left of my door is a closet. Now, this is the first closet I've had since starting at this school that has had a door. My freshman year, I just had this kind of wooden wardrobe thing. Last year, I did have a closet built into the wall, but it didn't have a door, but this one does. So inside here, and I can't really light it up, but I just have like my laundry detergent and other cleaning supplies and just some random stuff up top. All my hung clothing, so my one dress shirt, my dresses, and my jackets. I don't have my coats hung up, A, because I only have one extra hanger, which is back there, and B, because it's still fall, so it's not really cold enough to warrant them. And then at the bottom, I have all of my shoes. I tried to not bring very many shoes this year, so that's everything, plus I have my shower shoes and slides there, and then my big laundry basket. And over here, I have my desk. My desk is still a work in progress. I'm not exactly sure where I want things, but I've got my Bluetooth speaker, my tablet, my laptop, some lights for filming, my journal, tissue box, I always seem to have a stuffy nose, and then some other random stuff over here. And then the rest of my room is empty, and I actually kind of want to keep it that way because there's a fair amount of floor space back here, which I think I can use for yoga. I've got my yoga mat and yoga blocks over here. And I can either use this wall for doing handstand related training, or I can probably will just move the mirror, because this wall there's no like cord or anything running across it, whereas over here there's some electrical paraphernalia that I don't want to deal with when I'm climbing up the wall. And yeah, and then there's my window, which is overexposed and is currently recalibrating. Boom, I get a beautiful view of this giant tree and the parking lot. Oh, and how can I almost forget the underside of my bed, which is where all of my like suitcases and duffel bags are. So the big green one is kind of where I'm keeping everything that I need to store, just might as well store it in the bag. The small black one, that's another athletics bag. It has some of my dance shoes and is currently housing all of my masks, other than the one that I'm about to use. My pink suitcase, just my suitcase, there's nothing really in it. And then there's another duffel bag back there that's empty that I will probably just keep so I can take stuff home once the semester's over. So yeah, suffice to say it's been kind of a crazy month. This video is going up a couple days later than I had anticipated because I've just had schoolwork that really caught me off guard. Now I know to be in a better rhythm academically than I was this past week, which was brutal. I was literally doing homework until the last minute for one of my classes, so don't do that. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to be filming this next month, September. I think it's going to focus mostly on what it's like being back at college during COVID, and what my school's doing and whether or not I think I'm going to stay here. I think we've got it under control. And so I probably won't be working on my screenplay as much, but I definitely have other projects that I want to work on and other YouTube videos than these blogs that I want to start producing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!